what kept you, I mean, if you're here on the Nissan channel, you obviously like Nissan. What kept you from buying a Titan diesel?
What's up, everybody, and welcome into our What the Truck Wednesday video. I am Tom. This is Russell. We're your hosts for today's show. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, something we haven't really talked much about before.
Right.
It's the Titan XD. And that is fitted with a 5.0 Cummins diesel motor. We're going to talk briefly about some common failure issues. And we've got some parts on here that we sell a lot of. And we ship them all over the place. I've shipped these parts to Canada often. I've sold them to some guy in Belgium, France, and I think I sent something to Australia once.
Yeah.
Probably other places. Oh, there's a guy in Germany too. But anyway, yeah, these are the common failure points.
Yeah, and you know, I want to touch on something really quick. So I think one of the interesting things with Nissan coming to the diesel market when they did 2016-ish, 2017-ish, was that the Nissan customer base who had owned gasoline Titans, some of them might not have been used to owning a diesel. And I worked at a Dodge dealership for a really long time, and we did a ton of diesel stuff. And the diesel issues were common. High mileage, I mean, you're gonna have turbo failures, you're gonna have expensive component failures are just gonna happen.
Right.
And a lot of those happened with this Titan.
Right.
And I think anytime you kind of messing with a first gen of something, you're gonna have issues, you're gonna have to work through them. But Cummins is a great company, obviously. They've been around, they build motors for everyone, not just diesel motors. They manufacture a lot of gasoline engines too for car manufacturers. So one of the things I had on my list, first things first, is swing valve actuator.
Yep.
Yeah, how many of these we sell online?
If we could get more in, we would sell them more often. There was a while where these were on back order, and nobody had them. We'd occasionally get one or two, and this is one of the parts that would get shipped all over the place.
Yeah, these are really common to fail, and they'll give you a error code in the system so the technicians know what it is when it comes in. I mean, I went through a list of repairs in our shop, and every one of them has the same code on it. With this thing basically locking up, they remove the linkage, test everything else works fine. This is the culprit.
Another thing with this too is this is not just a bolted on and go part. This needs to be calibrated to the motor.
Yes.
I did have a couple of people. One was a local guy, another guy was international. Got this, put it on, says he needs to send it back. It's not working properly. It's because once it's on, it needs to be calibrated. I'm going to say at a dealership.
Yeah.
Maybe there's aftermarket shops that might be able to do it. I have no clue, but it does need to be calibrated once it's installed. And don't make the mistake this guy did. He bought this, installed it at his house, and then he drove it over here because I had told him, yeah, it needs to be calibrated or it won't work. So.
Yeah.
Unless you have access to it, just let a shop do it.
Yeah, for sure. EGR cooler, these are really common they'll crack and start leaking. Now these guys cool down the exhaust temps for combustion, right?
Right, correct? Yeah, so what it does is it takes exhaust gases, cools it down to lower combustion cylinder temperatures. So it recirculates, but it wants to drop that temperature before it puts it back in there.
Yeah.
And they'll get clogged, they'll get hot, they'll crack, and your vehicle will go into limp mode.
Right. And then you had the EGR valve as well, didn't you?
Yeah. What I was seeing is a common bad EGR valve. That also gets contaminated and stuck. It's either open or closed, and if it gets stuck in one position, it will go into limp mode, and you'll get rough idle, poor performance, all that stuff.
Right. Turbo. Like I said, I've never worked somewhere where we did diesels where we weren't replacing turbos quite often. And most dealerships or shops that mess with diesel engines probably have some turbos on the shelf because they're going to go bad. You're going to have issues, and sometimes it's not the turbo's fault. Sometimes it's a component attaching to the turbo that causes an issue, clogged oil line. Wrong oil being used. We've seen that issue on the Nissan Jukes with the turbos.
And just general lack of maintenance too, right?
Right.
Not keep it up on your... Oil changes.
Right.
But this is a beast. It's heavy.
Yeah, this assembly used to come differently. I was telling Tom that there used to be another pipe coming off of here, a big assembly with a wastegate actuator on it, and they were seeing so many issues with this part that they removed that to keep costs down because the other portion of the assembly was
just fine.
It was fine, yeah. And one of the really cool things, and I meant to bring it in here, is that the Cummins parts come with gaskets and seals and things like that, which is really neat.
Yeah, it's complete.
So I'd be really interested to hear some input from any of you guys who own diesel trucks, whether it be a domestic truck, which is probably going to be the most common if you're here, if you've owned a Titan. But, you know, what kept you, I mean, if you're here on the Nissan channel, you obviously like Nissan. What kept you from buying a Titan diesel? Me and Tom both looked online at what people were saying, and it was kind of all over the place. Some of the stuff seemed very irrelevant.
Yeah.
Personal choices and things like that. I think that one of the things that I read was from a writer at Autoblog was talking about the styling of the truck itself and how they wish that Nissan would have pushed the envelope a little bit. And you know, it's truck styling, so I'm going, okay, what would they have done? The Nissan Warrior concept that Nissan had, I think, is a great example of what the truck could have been and what I think people hope for it. And you can see a picture of it right here. It's a cool truck. I think that would have been a hard push on a diesel truck in a domestic market. Kind of interesting design, very futuristic looking.
Yeah, and also, you know, appearances, I mean, that comes down to personal taste. I mean, what might be good for one person might be butt ugly to someone else.
Yeah, and I think the truck, I didn't have any issues with the truck. I didn't think it was ugly. I thought it looked tough. I thought the insides of them were nice. Platinum Reserve trucks seemed plenty nice for me. Me and you both own older cars. So someone coming from a 2022 Ford might be like, yeah, this ain't doing it. And I don't know. I have no experience in that.
Yeah, it's funny that the articles I read, that they seem to say, oh, you know, the tow capacity, but we compared them and they're comparable.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, get in the comments. I would love to hear the input from the diesel and truck community about what they could have done differently. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what weighs 12,000 pounds that you need to tow.
Right. I mean, that's quite a bit.
Yeah. So
motorhome.
Yeah, I mean, I read that, you know, the truck was very heavy compared to, you know, other trucks in that same segment, and I know that it was in a kind of a interesting area in between.
Fuel economy as well. I heard a lot of complaints about that. But it seems like Nissan across the board, the fuel economy is not that good.
Yeah, and I think that Nissan came out really strong with the Titan. They were very excited with the diesel. I think that they may have given up on it a little bit too soon. I don't know. I'm not counting the billions of dollars that run through that company, so who knows what it really looks like. But sales, I did compare some sales numbers from Nissan versus, you know, Ford, and it's a drastic difference.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the market was like saturated with, you know, Ford, Ram.
That's a tough market to hop into.
Yeah.
So obviously, I think Nissan's market of growth is probably going to be in the EV market. I mean, they're gonna, but yeah.
Okay, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
So leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the Titan diesel, if you have one, if you've had any issues, or if it's been a perfect truck for you. And then come back and see us on Friday for our regular car video. We got some rare parts. I've got some rare parts to show off.
I don't even know about them yet.
Last of the last.
Let us know if you want some more diesel videos. We have tons of Cummins parts in stock, so if you need parts, let us know. We'll help you out. We'll put a link in the description of the video with our email and all that if you need help.
See you soon. Bye.